Below.
Well, let's talk about it with Sarah Game, the One Nation Upper House MP in State Parliament. Sarah, good morning.
Good morning.
What's your take on it so far? And the Attorney's quite right. We have encountered the central region, which is likely to be the bulk of the votes. What do you think on somebody elected with just 6 votes?
Well, I think what is clear at the moment is we've had very poor voting turnout from our regions, where I think we know that people are doing the worst. And I think it raises the question for me about where the idea for this voice came from. I mean, I thought we were told that there'd been years of consultation. We've had the Voice Commissioner, he'd gone around, I thought, to all these communities for the last couple of years. And after consulting with everybody, this idea had come from the Aboriginal people that they really needed this voice and they were in support of that. So if it's come from the Aboriginal people, why have we got such low participation? And if it hasn't come from them, then why, it raises this question about who's responsible for the implementation of this really flopped idea that's costing so much money.
Where to next for it? I suppose we wait and see what the final vote is firstly, but as I say, it's disappointing. Are you surprised it's so low?
I'm not really surprised. No, I'm really not surprised at all. On the one hand, it is surprising just because if you think about the level of time and investment, the government has put out, it's going to cost, $10.3 million, which is money that could be better spent elsewhere in cost of living for everybody in need. But really, I think the cost has come at a much higher rate because, like I say, there's actually been years, I believe, of consultation, and we've had this Voice Commissioner and all his staff being paid to go around and consult with the Aboriginal people. So when you look at the level of investment, the time, the energy and the money that's been spent on this, to have such a low turnout, I think in a way is very surprising, but perhaps not. I know from the consultations I've had with various Aboriginal groups, they remained, in my opinion, very confused about what the voice would do. And just in terms of commenting on what Kayam said about letting Aboriginals have a say, certainly I need to do more consultation, but with the groups I've consulted with, they had already spoken to Kayam and communicated to him, I believe, directly and to the government about their concerns about the area. And so I remain confused about why they couldn't have just listened to those groups then, and why we've had to implement such an expensive process that's resulted in a really low turnout.
And there were some groups where they're not. I recall one on the West Coast, I think, on the Eyre Peninsula, who were very concerned that none of their people had nominated. Therefore, they feel unrepresented by the outcome of the voice and the vote that was taken just now.
That's absolutely right. I think there's a couple of really big fundamental flaws that have come out. One, a lot of people don't seem to have known about it in those communities, or they remain very confused and they didn't have anybody nominated from their area. And secondly, it seems to me that there's an incredibly large group of people, and perhaps this is why there was a low voter turnout despite all the promotion of it. I'm not sure, but there's an incredibly large group of Aboriginal communities who feel simply that this is absolutely offensive to their culture to nominate people from other groups to represent them. And it's just something that's not done, and it's something that they don't want to be part of, and it's completely against their culture. So it's interesting to me that the government have come up with a method to represent Aboriginal people that in fact is fundamentally offensive, it seems, to many Aboriginal groups.
All right, and just finally, you've got you've got legislation to repeal the voice before Parliament. I imagine as a result of this, you're sticking with that?
Absolutely. So I've got a bill, the voice repeal bill. Unfortunately, we don't have enough votes in the Parliament to get that through at the moment. But certainly, for me, that is the most respectful thing to do to the South Australian people, really, who I think have made it clear that this is not how they want their taxpayer money spent.
Okay, Sarah Game, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
The State One Nation MP in the upper house of State Parliament on the voice. The first results are in. They are for 4 of the 6